Good afternoon, dear colleagues. We're ready to start our roundtable dialogue of Interreg program, Baltic Sea region platform of joint actions and priorities of 2021. I would like to remind that our roundtable is held under the 19th Russian Forum of Strategic Planning in the regions and cities of the Russian Federation. The common theme of our forum is Reality 2020 and the agenda of the decade. And I'm happy to give the floor to Kolosova Elena, Project Management and Consultant on External Cooperation of the Unified Secretariat of Interreg Program. Thank you very much, Irina. It is pleasant to see you despite the fact that we are in different places and in different countries, but on one continent. Since we're speaking about Zoom, I will make some technical supplement. At the beginning, would like to ask all the participants to switch on cameras so that we could see your faces, and we would like to see all the faces, and we'll try to take the photo, take pictures so that afterwards will circulate that photo. My apologies, Elena. I have forgotten to say it while I was making my introductory remarks. Our assistant will tell us when we can pass on further. Alec? Yeah, so we can continue. Okay, we continue. Our session today is an online session on two platforms. The main speakers are on platform Zoom, so I would like to ask you to check whether you have given the complete name so that we would see the name of the speaker. Before opening, we said that we have a possibility of listening to the translation, so you have to choose the English and the Russian uh, channel, and on the side of the forum there will be translation in one of the languages. The microphones of all the participants and the speakers, particularly those speaking in Zoom, are closed, but they will be open as soon as you take the floor during your presentation. Next slide, please. We already said that we wanted to see all of you for taking pictures and when you make your presentation. Before your presentation, you will get an invitation for the organizer to connect, to switch on the microphone. Since we're in an online format, we also wanted to feel the presence of our audience, and for this, we're going to have a polls where we would like you to share your opinion on two questions. We also have a chat and we'll try to look into it, and probably if we have enough time, we'll select several questions for our presenters. And I hope that our presentations and our session will be smooth despite the fact that we are from different countries. Now we have the speakers from Sweden, Germany, Finland, uh, Brussels is also online, and many cities and towns of the Russian Federation, Moscow, St. Petersburg, Kaliningrad, Pskov, and I'm talking with you from Riga, and I give the floor to Irina back to the studio. Will I please show the slide with the agenda, because we have to look at the agenda now. The first with which we start will be welcoming addresses to the participants of Roundtable. And in the first part, the first floor will be given to Anna Popova, Deputy Director of the Development of Integration Projects and CIS countries, Minister of Economic Development of the Russian Federation. Anna Nikolaevna, please take the floor. Thank you, Irina Anatolyevna. Dear colleagues, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to welcome all the participants of this session of the dialogue program Interreg, region of the Baltic Sea, platforms of joint actions and priorities 2021. First, I would like to thank the Russian National Committee of the program, as well as personally to Director of the Managing Board and Joint Secretariat, Mrs. Shadana Scherer, for organizing the event, despite the difficulties which we're facing now and our partners of the program. This year we have a very difficult situation. We managed to get together today, though in an online format. The traditional event of that for, for and we can discuss different projects with participation of the Russian partners and their colleagues. Some words about the program and the key factors and figures. The projects of the programs are implemented in the territory of Archangel, Volgograd, Kaliningrad, Leningrad, and Pskov regions, as well as Karelian Republic, and in the city of St. Petersburg. In 43 projects of the program, total budget is 27 million euros. There are 65 organizations from the Russian Federation and 480 organizations from Germany, Denmark, Latvia, Lithuania, Norway, Poland, Finland, Sweden, and Estonia. The participants of the projects are uh, public authorities, high schools, governmental organizations, and of course, businessmen. All this creates a good platform for integrated development and dialogue on the transboundary space. The projects under realization of the program will make the territories and the regions of our countries more attractive for life and work of the people, targeted and strengthening interpersonal contacts. As to the priorities for three Russian partners participate in 21 projects on innovations. 28 Russian partners participate in 19 projects on environmental protection, and 4 Russian partners participate in 3 projects on transport and logistics. Ministry for Economic Development of Russia, as a national body in the Interreg program, Baltic Sea region, coordinates the implementation of the program in the Russian Federation, and it continues to interact to form the topical configuration for the new period. For 2021-27, now the program committee comprising representatives of all member countries are finalizing the development of the joint program document, and our common purpose for the future in December 2020 to approve the draft document so that to start public hearings. I'm quite sure that our meeting today will demonstrate a high degree of interaction between all the program partners for implementation of the program at the state and regional level. To conclude my welcome address, I would like to wish all the participants of the session fruitful work, and I'm sure that we'll be able next year to organize our meeting in usual form, because the strategic forum next year will celebrate its 20th anniversary. I would like to wish you good health, fruitful work, and good mood. Thank you. Anna Nikolaevna, thank you very much. And I give the floor to a representative of the Foreign Ministry, Deputy Director of the Department of General European Cooperation, Kaprin Igor Nikolaevich. Thank you very much, Irina Anatolievna. Can you hear me? Yes, yes. Thank you very much. That in that difficult time you managed to organize this part of the forum and to bring together so many participants. That's really wonderful. Being a member of the monitoring committee of the program, the Baltic Sea region, I am really proud that we have a lot of friends of the Baltic Sea, friends of the program in our country, and what emphasis is placed by the participants of the program from other countries to the presence and active work of the Russian partners in the program. That is highly important also for preparing the next period that was mentioned by Anna Nikolaevna, which should create, under which conditions should be created so that our partners from the first competition of project applications will take an active part, calls for the applications. Just a few words about the new document that was published recently on the 7th of October. This is a concept of boundary cooperation in the Russian Federation. Without going into details, that creates all the possibilities, including formal possibilities, so that our regions, the regions of the Northwestern Federal District, would take part from the Russian part in the program, so that the priorities of the program, as they are worded now, to the full extent would comply with the priorities of our vision of boundary cooperation that is present in the concept. But I would like to quote a couple of phrases that boundary cooperation is an important component of international relations between the Russian Federation, targeted at setting up and development of constructive dialogue of the subject of the Russian Federation with subjects of cooperation from other countries, and border cooperation aimed at creating the atmosphere of good contacts and on daily cooperation between the subjects. And Russia is complying with the long-term national interests of Russia, creates promotes formation of favorable climate with our state, strengthens security in the borderline regions of our country and the neighboring countries. I think these are very important statements that serve the invitation for all, both old and new project partners, to place major emphasis now on their priorities and formation of creative teams on consortia, so that in the near future, as soon as the programs is launched, you would be working with presenting your projects that will be assessed professionally in accordance with the current procedure under the program, and the best of which I hope that in most of them there will be Russian representatives, will get funding and will be able to realize their objectives. When we started the program process, sometimes it was said that there are some challenges and problems which today are facing those who design the programs and the regions. Someone stated wisely that in fact we form a program of 728, and with the present rate of events, it is difficult to foresee what will be the technological breakthroughs, how the program in Baltic will look, and our cooperation will look in specific trends during this
program shall be like in those years. As for us, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs shall do everything possible to make your work comfortable, so that the strategy of the Baltic regions of the EU and the strategy of the development of the northwest of Russia have a dialogue, and so that this dialogue is good for the development of your ideas and your teams. We shall do our best that this development is in line with the goals of the development of the millennium. Your ideas should bring practical benefit to everyone who lives in the Baltic region, and they should be aimed at the future. So that's my message, and I wish you maximum success at this turbulent time. Thank you, and let me first of all thank Madam Karelina for organizing this forum, for having enough patience and energy, both you and your team. And my greetings to all the participants of the meeting. I wish you good work and new and most interesting ideas. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Igor Nikolaevich. Now let me switch to the video greeting of my director, Susanna Scherer, the director of the ruling body of the United Secretariat of the program Interreg region of the Baltic Sea. Let's take a look at her greetings. She's sending from the city of Rostock, Germany.
Dear participants of the 2020 Strategic Planning Leaders Forum, Здравствуйте. Меня зовут Susanna Scherer. I am representing the Interreg Baltic Sea Region program. For almost 20 years, Russian regions bordering the Baltic Sea have been active in cooperating with their neighbors in Interreg programs. We will see that Interreg projects help project partners turn great solutions into common practices to make the life of their citizens greener and full of opportunities. We need such prospects, in particular now in times of a pandemic. Today, in October 2020, I am happy to report that Russian partners successfully rejoined our Interreg Baltic Sea Region program with an equal share of Russian and EU funding for Russian participants. Partners from Russia have taken part in 48 of 140 projects of Interreg Baltic Sea Region. Imagine, over 500 partner organizations from all Baltic Sea Region countries cooperate in joint projects with Russian participation. We are proud of our achievements. Now it's time to look ahead. A new program period will start in 2021. Cooperation in the Baltic Sea region makes sense if all countries, including Norway and the regions of the Russian Federation, will actively participate. Please learn more about achievements and future plans at the forum's session on the Interreg Baltic Sea Region program's dialogue called Joint Actions and Priorities in 2021 Plus. It's going to take place on October 26th at 3 p.m. Now I wish you good talks at the forum and please stay healthy.
I quite join Susanna's words. All my colleagues, that's about 30 people who are mainly working from Rostock, and many have projects with Russian participation. Now, for the final greetings, I'd like to give the floor to Becky Jönulen, the coordinator of the General Directorate of the European Committee on the issues of regional and city town policy. Nicola, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, can you hear me? Yes. I want to thank you for inviting me to deliver the welcoming words to this important dialogue. We are currently in the programming exercise for the 2021-2027 programs. It is the right time to reflect and take a closer look at the achievements and results of our cooperation programs. This is also true for the transnational cooperation program Interreg Baltic Sea Region. The current program has been running since 2014 and is in its final phase. There is still time to finalize the ongoing projects, but at the same time, it's also the right time to speak about the next generation of cooperation programs, also for the Baltic Sea region after 2020. EU cohesion policy is a long-standing policy which can capitalize on a 30-year experience. Every 7 years, we change the priorities to adapt it to a fast-changing world. So, of course, in the last years, and especially in 2018, when the Commission presented its proposals for cohesion policy post-2020, we very much focused on digitalization, innovation, and climate and green matters. Hence, under the heading of SMART, competitiveness and research and innovation will indeed be crucial components of the new cohesion policy. And so will the Green Deal. Under the heading of greener, low carbon, the Green Deal will be the leitmotif for everything cohesion policy is financing in terms of energy efficiency, renewable energy, etc. Cohesion policy will be the main delivery mechanisms for the Green Deal. And there is also specificity for the European cooperation programs, the Interreg specific objectives, for example. And in this program's context, the better Interreg governance, which is supporting capacity building, addressing cross-border legal and administrative challenges, support for institutional capacity to support macro-regional strategies, and support for trust building, people to people and civil society, which are all relevant for the Baltic Sea transnational program. Also, the recent update of the action plan of the EU strategy for the Baltic Sea region, EU SPSR, is also relevant in the context of Interreg Baltic Sea region program. This program is namely the main financing source for the governance of the EU SPSR and several projects, as was quite clearly presented in the EU SPSR annual forum last Tuesday in Turku, or in digital format, of course. The cooperation with the neighbors is mainstreamed in the new action plan, and it will hopefully further facilitate the practical cooperation with the neighboring countries. One other change which is also relevant to mention here is the single set of rules for cooperation on EU external borders. In the Interreg regulation, the Commission proposes a major effort to simplify cooperation beyond the borders of the Union by transferring resources from certain external instruments to be implemented by the Interreg program authorities under shared management. But this is on another story, and I will not elaborate further on that. In conclusion, first, concerning the future cooperation programs, we propose to continue what we have now. We see no significant need for a change. Second, on the thematic orientation, we propose that our programs take into account the policy priorities of the new European Commission, the Green Deal, and addressing and adapting to climate, which are relevant for us. I am also confident that this can be a basis for cooperation programs with Russia, having in mind that we are facing the same challenges as Mr. Kapurin just before me indicated. The future programs should be coherent with the political and strategic frameworks of the EU that exist in their territories, namely the EU's Arctic policy, Northern Dimension, the EU strategy for the Baltic Sea region, just to name the most important ones, and also including the relevant Russian strategies. And third, we would like to see the concentration of the programs on a limited number of priorities to make the best use of available financial resources. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pekka. Thus, we close the part of greetings and switch to the part of projects. We'll talk on the projects which are now carried out by the partners from the Russian Federation and from the EU. But before that, I'd like to give the floor to Irina Karelina, the responsible secretary of the Russian National Subcommittee of our program, so that she tells us on how the transnational cooperation started between our regions more than 20 years ago. Irina, the floor is yours. Thank you very much. Please leave this slide. Have a look at the area of our cooperation. Naturally, our area is big in general. The north west looks rather impressive. Now the next slide, please. Let me tell you that in the year 2001, by that time, and the slide is about that, by that time Russia has already accumulated certain experience of working in the Interreg program, but that was the starting point, the month of May of the year 2001, when at a big international seminar, in fact it was a conference, there was organized a meeting of representatives of all the regions of the Northwest with their potential partners and the representatives of the regional authorities of the countries of the Baltic regions. At that point, the Russian National Subcommittee has been formed. This stage that preceded is described with the first lines of this line. That's the years 97, 99. At that time, we were rather observers, but since the year 2001, there started our intensive participation in the program. In the year 2006, there have been already 78 projects with Russian partners, and it included 224 Russian partner organizations, and the subcommittee acted as a coordinator and a supporter. Well, let me tell you that the National Subcommittee was formed in Russia. Well, we were one of the first among the countries of the Baltic region, and that was mentioned in the program documents that this body had to exist. In the year 16, since we were late to sign the financial agreements, thus the Russian partners were only associated bodies. However, they participated in 6 projects from 88. We wanted to keep our partnership with Europe. And between the years 14 and 20, sorry, that was the period of the years 07, 13, and later, Russia participated in over 40 projects from 140. This slide, this is the screen of our site where information is available for Russian partners about the program. Yelena has selected the slide with the initial list of our subcommittee. But now 2 people are present from that list. That is Mogolova and Maximova from Pskov and Kaliningrad. And now the Liana Lamarova with colleagues from Murmansk are the co-chairs of the subcommittee. In those 20 years, a lot of interesting projects have been carried out, and they provided very interesting and very good results, and they supported the development of the region and helped carry out the goals mentioned in the municipalities and regional programs. In future, I believe we may be as successful or even more successful because we're now experienced. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, Irina. Thus, we're switching to the main part. We'll talk about the projects, current projects, or the ones that were recently finished. There are 3 fields. We'll discuss them, and I will ask 3 main questions on these topics. We want to know what were the main results of the projects. We'll talk about the stakeholders of the projects, why it was so important to attract certain stakeholders, and whether there are ideas for the future projects of transnational cooperation. So we give a task to our participants. Now in chat, you will see a link to voting number 1. And in this voting is necessary to get to know your opinion about the main benefit or the main achievement of this transnational cooperation in the project. Please use 1 word in English to express that positive thing. And upon the end of the project block, we'll summarize them and see whether there's a similarity of opinions and what do the participants think about the main benefits of cooperation in projects. We have a bit over an hour for voting, so you have time to consider one word to describe this cooperation. After you switch to the link and vote to express your opinion, please get back to us so that you can hear us and see us. Now I'm switching to our first project topic. May have the slides, please. We'll talk about the cyclic economy and sustainable development. A lot of projects were in this field, including Russian partners, as well as Anna mentioned in her presentation. Nearly half the projects are with Russian partners in this field. And we'll talk about two projects. One is called Smart Up Accelerator. It's an innovation ecosystem to foster consumer clean tech markets in the Baltic Sea region. And the other project is called Baltic Industrial Symbiosis, or BIS. I will give the floor to very interesting speakers. There is Maxim Balanyov, for example, from the St. Petersburg Foundation for SME Development. It's Elena Aparina, who is working in Enviro company. We'll also hear the opinion of the leading partner of the project, Jenny Schmidt-Jacobsen from Innovatum Technopark in Sweden. We'll talk to Nikita Lamartin from Tarman Group, St. Petersburg. Also, we'll listen to Nadezhda Ilstrup-Hansen, who's working for the leading partner of that project in the Symbiosis Center, Denmark, of Kalundborg Municipal University. These projects were very much supported by the Cluster of Clean Technologies of St. Petersburg, represented by Nikolai Peterimov. Now let's switch to the next slide and our projects.
I'd like to ask Maxim to answer the first question. We know the results of the project. I know that for your project, one of the stakeholders in the targeting this were SMEs. Why do you think that your project could help such companies, and what was that assistance? Maxim, please. Thank you very much, Elena. I want to thank primarily our project has been completed on the 1st of October. It was successful. It was possible. Would be impossible without support of the Foreign Ministry, Ministry for Economic Development, Foreign Relations Committee of St. Petersburg, Secretariat of Interreg program, Clean Technologies Cluster, and Leontiev Center. The program of the Baltic Sea is unique. And there are no such programs of transboundary cooperation available for the companies of St. Petersburg. Our main audience and stakeholders were SMEs. We also worked with infrastructure, with people, with end users. I can share the results which were attained. The colleagues will elaborate on my ideas, and I would like to discuss the first case. Each year we worked on one of three trends. We worked with smart technologies in the house, on transport, and with smart technologies in industry of catering. And in each year we attained very good results. For the first year we worked with Interreg company, world's battery company that produces accumulators of energy for the house, and the company emerged to the market of 30 countries. And next year, so we worked with Dutch company that produces the services for charging. And last year, we worked with Pirelli company that is transport aggregate. And now, due to this, not only companies receive good objects, but people can also move from Finland to St. Petersburg and back. As soon as the borders are closed, it will be launched. And that will be the end of my short presentation. I give the floor to the next speaker. Thank you very much, Maxim. And we pass on to the next speaker, Elena Parina. I know that you are a mentor of one of the projects, which we can see in our slides, NAMCUP, Edible Cups project. Why have you become the mentor? Thank you very much. And how have you become? We got acquainted with NAMCUP in the territory of the friendly technological place in St. Peter, in Great Business Incubator, transfer of technologies. For several years with my technological project, I was a resident of that business incubator. Due to development of these activities, our technological company and startup became a strong engineering companies, and now we make up the factory in Siberia. There are people with environmental green life position. NICAP is also from that story. So our story is a product of organic network. Edible cups are an alternative to plastic cups, and the colleagues were impressed by the networking and increased productivity twofold. The sales are growing, and the project expands the line of the products, gluten-free paste and lower calorific value, and we are preparing to emerge to the European market. And according to Startup Accelerator, we'll start with the Finnish market. Thank you, Elena. Now I feel that it is a pity that we couldn't meet in St. Petersburg just to taste your cups, the success story of our transnational project. Maxim has noted that the project was completed, and I would like to give the floor to the lead partners and ask, your project was completed. What are the results of the project? I would like to ask Jenny Schmidt-Jakobsen from Sweden to answer that question. Jenny, please.
Yes, thank you so much. I hope you can hear me okay. So one of the, like Maxim explained, we've been focusing on different areas during this project, but what they all have in common is that it's about sustainable productions and sustainable solutions for consumers. And the long-term goals, one of the most important ones has been to find a method for supporting these innovations, both within the project lifetime, but beyond as well. And what you can see here on the screen is a little preview of the new Startup Accelerator platform, and it's going to host the network, which is one of the main outcomes of the project. And this new platform is taking shape based on our learnings from the projects. So that's for one, it's from supporting many startup, like many of the companies that have the solutions. We've also had many interviews, over 130 interviews, to learn about the stakeholders in our region. So this network, by the end of the project, had 49 organizations interested to join, to continue our work, and they were located in 8 countries, which is nice. We actually have 7 countries in the project, but it's spreading beyond the project. So that's really good. And within this network, we're planning to continue to find new projects, activities, new projects to work on, but also to continue to work with startup, with small, medium-sized enterprise development, and to also be a kind of a door opener for each other to access our respective markets. Because those are one of the few, those are the things that we have in common, mainly as stakeholders in the network. And one other thing that we think is really important is to continue to raise awareness about these topics, because it's new innovations and new business fields. And we can note that by actually raising awareness, we can increase interest to join market forces, and we can increase investments and engagement in these areas. And consumer clean tech that we have been working on is kind of typical for many new innovations that come these days. It's typically a merging of industries and can be different new types of business models. So for that reason, and because we have different prerequisites in our countries, we have different market size, different regulation, different projects like private and public initiatives and public opinions. We see that if we can collaborate and do the best we can with the knowledge that we have and the new infrastructure that we have created in the project, we can try to make sure that these innovations reach more people, they create more impact, they can find a good market for their solution. And us as stakeholders, we can benchmark and take a good proactive approach to new innovation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jenny, and it's pleasant to see that the project, despite the fact that they are completed and finished under our project, are still living. And now we'll focus on the next project, Baltic Industrial Symbiosis, that also works with business. And first, I would like to ask a representative of the Russian partner, Nikita Lomagin, to understand what is an industrial symbiosis, how the live laboratory under the project was set up. Nikita, my name is Nikita Labatam, Tyrman Group company. Our company implements the project Baltic Industrial Symbiosis in Russia. We entered the project due to the cluster of clean technology for urban environment. The participants of the cluster 2330. What is industrial symbiosis? How we should change the civil or business that waste is not a waste but a resource. We have to conduct screening and have contacts with representatives of business and try and find the chains in which some companies can be useful to other companies. Often a typical situation when a company has a certain waste and they pay for its recycling or it just goes into atmosphere, but there are consumers, potential consumers of that resource, and we can find the new value in that waste. Today, as you see in the map of St. Petersburg and Leningrad regions, we have 15 participants to the project, involved into the project. There are different companies, and starting from production of food such as shrimps or meat and ending in manufacturing of pebbles and other things. Everyone has waste. What should we do with waste? We have started implementing in the live laboratory the search for solutions that can, with our participation, make waste a resource. Coming back to what has been said, how life of Startup Accelerator continues. Smart Environment Company, one of the participants, they participated in the project Startup. We cooperate with other companies and other projects. If the people have want to develop in a good environmentally friendly future, you should be with us. And we have production zone, presentation, education and demonstration zone, and co-working zone, and live laboratory. We'll try to find for all the participants, 15 participants, interesting chains. Today, we focus on the following. With Boucher, a cafe shop, we try to find the second life for coffee residues. We try to create fuel pellets from the coffee residues, and we'll use it for cosmetics and also for the cups. Of course, they will be a bit different, but we can make cups from the coffee waste, coffee residues. We're testing these ideas and we try to realize them at our lab because it is not so easy to find the place where to test it. Then we have very interesting case with a Karelpod resource company. there was a lot of waste with debris. Smart environment and make eco benches from sand. We try to replace sand by granite sand. We test it, we realize it, and in the territory, our laboratories in Telman village, and there is a main concentration of project participants. So the main task is to create chain of industrial symbiosis, and we're doing it actively. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nikita. Now I would like to ask the lead partner to describe the project. Nadezhda, please tell us the main instruments for supporting companies that were developed in the project. And today we're speaking about the participation of the Russian partners. Can you highlight, on your opinion, why the participants of the Russian organization was important for implementation of your project, the Baltic Industrial Symbiosis? I would like to welcome everyone, all the participants of the round table, and I would like to start with a story about three main instruments that were developed and the projects that were developed under the project. First, this is the scheme for screening of the companies and organizations that was specially designed for the project, and the partners of the project used it for mapping the flows of resources on companies and organizations, so that on the basis of these data to develop new business models or new symbiotic chains. At the end of the project, that scheme, that instrument will be in free access for everyone who wants to get it. All the partners of the project also made their contribution to the development of the manual on forming the industrial symbiotic chain. That is a manual for this and next generation of for those who will practice industrial symbiosis. It gives them information how to start organization of industrial symbiosis, how to control it, what are the technological, economic, social, political, environmental factors that can affect the creation and vitality of symbiotic chains. And the final version of that manual will be in free access at the beginning of 2021. At the end of September 2020, we conducted the first online classes of the educational program on industrial symbiosis, developed by Linköping University in cooperation with Roslin and Gdansk Technological Universities. All the three universities are partners of the project, and the program was intended for the practitioners in industrial symbiosis, and it is conducted in three-stage: first lectures, practical classes and groups. Then during the second stage, the participants are working independently on the themes and approaches and problems related with organizational functioning of the symbiotic chain which they are involved in, or which they plan to create. At the final stage, the participants meet virtually to discuss the results, outcomes of their joint work, and to ask the burning questions to experts in industrial symbiosis. It is planned to conduct 5 sessions, online sessions, in different countries of the region: Poland, Sweden, Finland, Norway, and Russia, where the programs will be specially adapted for each country. And now I would like to pass on to the second question concerning our Russian partners. Peter the Great opened the window on Europe. Our Russian partners opened the window in Russia for industrial symbiosis. That is highly important for us. Symbiotic thinking expanded beyond the Colombo, where I work, Denmark, and particularly now when in Russia they place major emphasis on circular economy, and the concept of industrial symbiosis was quite handy. The participant of the Russian partners in the project allowed to study in deep the Russian business its needs, as well as to know closer our Russian stakeholders. My Danish colleagues are astonished by the engagement of the Russian colleagues and the great work that they had done and are planning to do under the project, and the interest around the industrial symbiosis is great, not only in St. Petersburg, but in other regions of Russia. They attract different companies and organizations into the project. We hope that our cooperation will be carried on after the end of the project Baltic Industrial Symbiosis. Thank you. Thank you very much, Nadezhda. Thank you, Nikita, for that brief but very important explanation of the industrial symbiosis. Thank you very much, Nadezhda, for your recommendations to the Russian partners, for your vision, how the Russian partners participate in the program. Interreg of the Baltic Sea. Now, we have heard from several speakers that there is an idea as to what will happen after the end of the project. The project Smart Up Accelerator ended, and the project Baltic Industrial Symbiosis is still carried on, but it is high time to make the plans for the future. I would like to come back to our first speaker, Maxim, and ask him, and the answer will be yes. Ask him if there are any initiatives. Will he please describe the initiatives on cooperation for the future that appeared due to such projects that we're mentioning now? Thank you very much, Elena. Really, 3 years ago, when we started the project, many questions related with the green vision on of business and society and so on were not quite clear. But in 3 years, particularly during that half a year that passed from the beginning of pandemic, we understood that we couldn't live in any other way. And due to the project, our thinking has changed and our mentality has changed. And we created Smart Up Accelerator, Smart Up Network due to the project, which comprises 8 organizations and the support structure.
One of the latest events, we thought, what's coming next? And really, there are many initiatives, many projects. Indeed, if we regard the next program cycle, especially after the presentations of colleagues from Brussels, all the programs shall be around green and sustainable development. In fact, we have quite a number of big strategic events, including the strategic forum, but we don't have such an event for business only. Hence, we had an initiative to have the Baltic Circle Circular Economy Forum. It will take place next on the 22nd of April of the year, no, not 20, but 2021. There's an error on the slide. So we'd like to invite all the colleagues for participation. We are open for the development of the common program. It's supported by the Clean Technologies Cluster. It's one of the main organizers of the forum, and we are personally grateful to the colleagues for support, to Mr. Nikolai Peterimov in particular. Well, Irina and Elena, thanks for the existence of this platform. I believe it's going to be a practical site for future planning. Future is coming, and we can provide some practical solutions for the business. For example, like the Industrial Symbiosis project. There'll be roundtables, exhibition areas, matchmaking, visits to the enterprises, and the main thing, the contest of the smart ups will be discussing the main sectors, home and energy, transport, etc. We have already started the site. It's bcf.info. You may look at it right away. And of course, I'd like to thank everybody who made this possible and for the support of the program. we managed to do a lot thanks to the support, and now we're able to share all this with business. Thanks a lot, Maxim, and I'd like to thank the representatives of these two projects. It was really very interesting to hear about how the projects are being carried out. They are not planned. These are not just the plans anymore. They're being carried out. Yeah, and we see the sustainable development of business thanks to such projects. Now let's switch to the next block. I see no questions in the chat, hence we switch to the next block, and there we'll talk about sustainable management of water resources. Maxim, it's not by chance that you said that the forum is planned for the year 2020. We are still in the current year, and we're talking about carrying out of the current projects. One of the projects is this water platform on integrated water cooperation, and they're dealing with the issues of sustainable development of water resources. The special feature of that platform is that it includes several projects, including the transboundary programs and a bit of our program. A bit later, we'll explain how it works. And I'll talk to the excellent representatives of this project. We shall hear from Maria Andreeva and from Agnieszka Ilula, from the Union of the Baltic Cities, Turku, Finland, Sustainable Cities Commission, and there'll be a speaker from St. Petersburg. There is Natalia Boboleva from the Mineral Company, and we'll have Olga Zhukova from the city of Kaliningrad, from the environmental center called Yakarta Kaliningrad. This project was very much supported by the St. Petersburg administration, by the Committee on Nature Use, Environment Protection and Environmental Security of St. Petersburg. But unfortunately now, Ivan Serebritsky is busy in a different session. He couldn't make it to our session. So now let's switch to our platform. Water in the region of the Baltic Sea. So let me ask the question to the leading partner, Maria. Please tell us, what was the work of the platform about, and could you please give us an example of a result of the platform activity? I understand that it still continues, it's not over yet, it will only be over next year, but I already know that you have some interim results and achievements that you can tell us about. Thank you, Elena. Thanks for the slide. The BISAR Water is the platform on cooperation in integrated water management. This project includes not only the partner organizations, but full range of projects. We have 7 of big international projects, each of them regarded the issue of efficient water resources issue from different sides. Thus, we are regarding a broad range of questions like biogens in water, like managing the hazardous substances in sewage water, rainwater management, and we are looking at every aspect of the circular economy. So it's a multifaceted cooperation that we have on this platform. The goal of the platform is improving the intersectoral cooperation in the field of rational management of water resources. It may be subdivided into 2 main parts. Part of the work is conducted to develop strategic recommendations. We do that together with HELCOM, our partner project. The other part is exchange of best practices and solutions developed and tested in the region. And Yeah, it's for 2 years that we are working in this field. By the end of the work in September of the next year, we shall have plenty of results, different recommendations for the region. But as of today, we shall focus so far on one thing. That is the portal called Baltic Smart Water Hub. Well, Hub is was started a couple of years ago. It's a portal for exchange of knowledge and experience in the field of water resources. There one may find best practices, technological solutions, practical tools and innovative developments from different cities of the Baltic region. And they have been developed within different projects financed by Interreg. Well, 6 examples are from Russia. They're presented, but we prepare 16 more for publication. Thus, the hub, as an international English language platform, enables Russian organizations to disseminate this internationally. Well, this year proved that online platforms are of vital importance nowadays. We can't personally meet at the forum. Thus, remote access to info contacts is really precious. We do hope that our hub shall be a useful tool, and we invite all the water experts and other experts to familiarize with our portal and to start using it. Then you may learn something new or share your achievements and developments with the other people in the region. Of course, we have a very comprehensive platform. A lot may be mentioned about it. Thus, we've prepared for this forum quite a big publication. There are links to it on the next slide. May I have the next slide, please? Well, I believe we have Natalia. She's one of the participants, and she's representing the publishers. It's now available online, and she can introduce this briefly. Yeah, hello. Thanks, Maria. Thanks, Elena. This special issue is announced for the first time. Of course, Ivan had to represent it. He is the chief editor of that edition, but in fact, it's quite a comprehensive structure, and it tells about the Russian input into the carrying out of HELCOM recommendations and about the input of all the 7 partners of that platform. We have rather interesting interviews. Hope it will be fascinating for the readers and useful as well. Each article is supported by the examples from the hub, so that it's more evident how Russian partners may get involved. Yeah, real examples translated into Russian. This will, I hope, incentivize Russian participants, and Russian companies shall join the platform. So we'll be happy, and I wish you to enjoy reading it. Get in touch. Thank you very much, Natalia. Maria has already mentioned the platform aimed for the experts that speak English. Is there a format you've developed in the platform for these Russian stakeholders? Well, if you let me, I will answer first, and then after that we'll ask for Olga's opinion from Kaliningrad. St. Petersburg is a very active participant of different international projects and makes an input into the project. For example, our Russian associated partners, Vodokanal of St. Petersburg, is an active participant of this project, and they share their expertise and do a lot for the development. For example, they've provided recommendations on rainwater treatment. Well, as it was mentioned, in this project period, we've initially collected 70 different Russian solutions and practices. They were discussed with the leading partners, with the expert community, and as Maria mentioned, not 16 being prepared to be presented at the hub, but 17 forms are being prepared, and we hope that Russia shall be, if not the leader, then one of the leaders, since there are many good examples coming from Russia, and I'm sure they'll be useful for, say, municipalities when they need to make a decision, those who are in the period of decision making. We believe it's a very important tool. Also, at this project period, we encountered Russian experts who are willing to join the experts of the platform and provide consultations about Russian technologies. They're willing to be active participants of the platform. Let's hope they will be able to make their input. Now, things to add. Besides that, of course, our platform, the results of our platform are being actively discussed at different events, including the Baltic Sea Day Forum. In the year 19, there was an important roundtable dedicated to the strategy of biogenes recycling. It's going to be one of the important results of the project. And events like the Baltic Sea Day, some seminars, enable to attract Russian participants and experts towards our international cooperation. At the strategic forum, we plan a seminar for Russian stakeholders, and we hope that it will take place online next year in spring, and we'll be able to present the project's results in more detail. Now, next, Olga will tell about the Kaliningrad region. Thank you very much, Natalia. Now, Olga, the floor is yours. Tell us about Kaliningrad. How does the platform work with stakeholders over there? Thank you, Olga. Good afternoon, Yelena, and all the session participants. I'd like to tell you a bit about how interesting and important it is for us to participate in this platform of water projects. We're participating as the basic partner, as well as with another project, which is also being carried out within the Interreg program framework. It's called BEST. It's already over. On the 30th of September, that was the last day of the program, and we do have some practical results. The main thing was the issues of common treatment of the waters coming to the municipal treatment facilities. It lasted for 3 years, and I believe it was interesting and useful for all the stakeholders. First of all, these are the municipal treatment plants. They treat some industrial waste and effluents. It was a good example for the whole Baltic region in the field of effective management of sewage waters. The project consists of two parts. The basic part was about the whole Baltic region, and the main trends were mentioned, typical for all the countries participants of the Baltic region. Also, there are national applications separately for Finland and separately for other partner countries, including the national guidelines for the interested parties in Russia. This guideline is available in electronic form. It may be uploaded both at the project site, it's in different languages, and on the site of our organization as well. That's one part of the results in the water platform project participation. The other benefit is that local authorities of ours have started to pay more attention to the issues of HELCOM, related to HELCOM activities. There are updated HELCOM guidelines and recommendations, and we are doing our best to disseminate the info about the methods to carry out those requirements and recommendations. We already have some results with our partners, and we are ready to cooperate in future and to assist in getting rid of the hotspots that still exist in the Kaliningrad region. Thank you. Thank you, Olga. Pleased to see that you're working not only with the cities water canals, but also with the municipal and regional authorities. That's one of the target audiences of our program. You've mentioned several ideas. I'd like to switch to the leading
I'd
father.
like to ask Agnieszka, from the viewpoint of the entire platform, do you have any ideas for the future, how you would like to carry on the cooperation after the end of that platform? Agnieszka, please.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much to organizers for inviting us to this very interesting and very important event. And of course, the congratulations to the Interreg BSR for that wonderful anniversary and great experience we had in the past when cooperating in the framework of different water-related projects. So yes, coming back to the question and the future undertakings of ours or continuation of the cooperation, here my colleagues have mentioned a couple of very interesting results. And apart from this very concrete Baltic Smart Water Hub platform with experience exchange, we also do work quite much on the policy side, on the policy recommendations in a I would say very important topics of today, which are addressing the challenges which we are still facing, which is the eutrophication, the water pollution, and also the climate change. Also resource efficiency. So we would very much like to continue working on those aspects, addressing those challenges, and especially in our platform, we are working on the nutrient recycling and cooperating with HELCOM, supporting the HELCOM by bringing the results from the project to the common policy level by creating the recommendations. Therefore, I think we would very much like to continue this work. And we know that there is coming a new upcoming strategy on nutrient recycling from the HELCOM. It's prepared. We know that the updated EU strategy for the Baltic Sea region also addresses the importance of nutrient recycling and especially the safety on nutrient recycling. So we have been working on the idea of the safe nutrient recycling in terms of hazardous substances removal and the safety, especially the emerging persistent organic pollutants, those emerging hazardous substances in the wastewaters, which jeopardize recycling of nutrients. We would like to address it very much, and we received the seed money facility support from Interreg Baltic Sea region for developing a project connected to the better knowledge of those emerging substances, hazardous substances, especially those persistent organic pollutants. So we look towards this work together with policy area hazard and also policy area Nutri to support the implementation of the strategy. We're going to look a little bit more into the evidence and knowledge available about the sources of the substances. Also, we plan to have the a part of the overview, a thorough overview in the region of those substances. We also wanted to look into the concrete full-scale technologies on how to support the wastewater treatment sector, our wastewater treatment plants, into removal of those substances so that the effluents from the plants are ready for the recycling, and they could be used further on in the industries, for example. So definitely the hazardous substances are a very important topic where we would like to definitely continue. And in our platform, we, as I mentioned, we support the HELCOM with providing the recommendations. So this is a kind of one field of our work and how to move forward. What we would like to, of course, support a lot is as well the green transition, and especially an ambitious goal of achieving the climate neutrality, energy positive sector, so support the whole water sector, because as we know, at the moment, the water sector is one of the most when it comes to affecting the climate change, it's one of the most also resource consuming sector. When we are talking about water, we are talking about the energy, we are talking as well about the greenhouse gas emissions. So what we are looking into now is like how to make the water sector a climate neutral, energy positive and resource efficient sector. So looking at the wastewater treatment plant not as the purely as they were designed initially to only remove the nutrients, purify the water, but as the resource factories. So we have there the water that could be used more than once and preserving the natural resources. And especially that we know that in coming 20 years, the demand for water will increase by 137% or more. So that's why we have to look at this circular economy principles very much. So that's one of the aims we would like, ambitious aim of making our water sector climate neutral in the coming years. In terms as well of the energy, we know that a lot of energy is needed for the purification, for the water treatment, for the also transporting the waters in the networks. So we know that we can have the energy from the processes internally, for example, by the recovery of energy in the wastewater treatment plant, or even production, as we have such an examples in our previous projects, as IVAMA have been bringing this very good practices of energy positive wastewater treatment plants in the region and forerunners, showing us the way. So that's the second thing, like looking quite much into the climate change and that connection to water sector. As I mentioned, the hazardous substances and as well the nutrient recycling. Those are the main fields we would like to work in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Agnieszka. As far as I see, you have a lot of ideas for future cooperation. And in the last block of our program, we'll see that it is not in vain that you are planning so many ideas. Thank you very much for this wonderful presentation of the project platform. And I hope that we'll meet you many times, because the platform is being carried on. Now we pass on to the last theme of our session. We're going to talk about projects related to urban mobility or green mobility within the scope of our program. I would like to ask to show the slide. Thank you very much. If you listened attentively to the presentation of Anna Nikolaevna Popova at the beginning of the session, you have heard that we don't have a lot of representatives of the Russian organizations in the third priority on sustainable transport. Despite that, one of the projects is so bright that we often invited to our sessions, not only the sessions when we're discussing the Russian participation, but at the session of the event when we're discussing the entire program of Interreg BSR. This is a project of cities multimodal, and I will talk with two cities, Rostock in Germany and Pskov in Russia, on the project and what they have managed to achieve within the project at the level of the city of Pskov. I will talk with Lisa Wichmann, representative of Hanseatic city of Rostock. We're going also to talk with Christina Kobus from the administration of Pskov city, the Committee on Implementation of the Program of Border Cooperation and Tourism, and we'll talk with Natalia Goleva, administration of Pskov region, Committee for Economic Development and Investment Policy of Pskov region. And I would like to ask with the question to the lead partner, Lisa Wichmann, with a request to tell a few words about the project and the main outcomes of the project, multimodal cities. Lisa, please.
Thank you very much, Elena, for these nice words and this nice introduction and the opportunity to present Cities Multimodal in this forum today. Please go to the next slide. Thank you very much. Yes, as Elena said, the project Cities Multimodal is focusing or dealing with the topic of urban mobility and creating a more sustainable urban mobility or creating solutions for such a sustainable mobility and multimodality. And I would like to focus maybe or to talk about maybe our most tangible outputs that we produced during the last 2 to 3 years. We were dealing on developing different solutions how to foster sustainable urban mobilities. So on the one hand, we wanted to foster mobility management and deal with specific target groups in order to change the mobility behavior. But we also, on the other hand, created kind of new infrastructure or improved the mobility offer in the cities by creating so-called mobility points. So these, as you can see here, are 3 different types of mobility points, 3 examples in our cities. These points are multimodal interchanges, so hubs or spots where you can rent or use different types of sustainable mobility. These might be bikes or e-scooters or car sharing spots or infrastructure for cyclists or services. So that's one of the main results that we achieved during the project. So this brings sustainable mobility to the citizens and makes it very accessible and very easy to use and convenient to use, as easy as public transport might be to use. This is maybe the very tangible output that we produced. And these mobility points are, of course, pilots in our cities for future networks, but also pilots maybe for other cities in the Baltic region, in Russia, of course, and in Europe. So, yes. And in order to give the opportunity to other cities also to learn from our results and from our projects, we also published some documents. Please go to the next slide. Thank you very much. And expressed in these documents what we've learned during the last 2 or 3 years. What are the different approaches of our cities, which are very diverse also in terms of size. We have smaller cities like Karlskrona, we have bigger cities like Riga, for example. We have different cities like in Russia or Rostock. So very different approaches, and they are published in these different guidelines and publications. The most important one is our Planner's Guide on Sustainable Urban Mobility Planning, where you can see the different solutions, also citizens' involvement methods that we developed. And we also had an approach starting from a strategy to the measure implementation. And our partners developed local sustainable urban mobility plans. And one of the result in our project was also the very first sustainable urban mobility plan of Russia, if I'm not wrong. And this is the one of the city of Pskov. And I'm sure that Christina will talk a little bit more about this. So yes, these are the main results of cities multimodal.
And the main outcomes of the project. Before we pass on to Pskov City, I would like to remind that we're having voting. Would like to get your opinion about the importance of transnational cooperation, what it means for you. So if you haven't yet voted, please follow the link, and we'll pass on to a presentation from Pskov to Christina. Please tell us how Pskov, what was done in Pskov that was important for the project and for the entire Russian Federation. Dear colleagues, can you hear me? I have to take the opportunity, similar to my previous colleagues, and I would like to thank you for the support, to thank my partners for the support. We had 16 partners from 7 countries of the project. I would like to thank our associated partners and members of the monitoring committee, Leontiev Center, and Green Mobility. I would also take the opportunity to thank our regional authorities, our ministries for the support which they rendered to us during the implementation of the project. Really, Pskov assumed some ambitious plans to make a great project with some interesting partners and consortia, and we were very much interested to learn from these partners. As Lisa said, different countries used different methods and means to achieve that multimodal city level. Under the project, we had a possibility to use, which we used actively. We visited all the seminars and all the trainings that were organized by our partners in different cities and towns. The partners also showed us their experience. They discussed their measurements, their success stories in achievement, multimodality in the cities. So I have to tell you that really there was a great benefit from that cooperation, because we could learn from the best practices, from the best examples, not only learn, but read the publications, read the strategic documents, and see how Riga managed to have that wonderful cycle roads, and how in Rostock that changed the behavior of the citizens if there were such multimodal points. That was really wonderful in the project of the Baltic Sea region project, that different partners, different cities and towns participated in. We were lucky we were working with Hanseatic cities, and also brought us together, and of course the result appeared to be quite good. I would like to tell you about the first plan of sustainable development in Pskov until 2030, which we were drawing up together with our partners, Leontiev Center and Green Mobility Initiative. We involved the people, organizing focus group, organizing polls, different information companies with children at schools. We involved businesses, SMEs. We invited representatives of regional and municipal authorities to our meetings, and together we formed the objective of our sustainable development plan that seems to be quite correct and ambitious, because the entire world now is trying to have clean and sustainable cities. That is the purpose of our plan of sustainable development of the city, bringing together the efforts of authority, businesses, citizens. We try to welfare and happiness of all residents of Pskov, creating open, comfortable urban environment, formation of available and accessible multimodal low-carbon transport system, implementation of creative potential and energy of each person based on the principles of responsible production and consumption, as well as promotion of the healthy lifestyle. That purpose was included into our sustainable development plans, because we want to attain it until 2030. So we take into account the sustainable development as a combination of economic development, integration, and environmental sustainability. The main thing, of course, are all the plans and actions which are formed by the city authorities for the period to attain our purposes of the plans of sustainable development until 2030 and implementation of the sustainable development agenda. We have three main priorities that form the general vector of sustainable development of the city. First, comfortable urban environment. Second priority, sustainable mobility and transport accessibility. And third priority, the sustainable platform of interacting with urban community. Of course, I would like to tell more to my colleagues as to what our plans involve, but we proceeded from 17 sustainable development goals or global SDGs, and now we plan to fulfill that plan. Elena asked what we were going to do. So during the first period, we have analyzed all the documents, we have analyzed all the available transport situation in the city. We learned from our partners, and we organized information companies and listened to our residents. We also had the urban authorities have set joint plans.
They know that they have common plans with the citizens, and they heard us. They are willing to have a relevant conduct. They are ready to use different kinds of transport with no engines, and now our task is to provide comfortable conditions for them. Thus, we are now actively participating in this work, and we shall use such tools as the transboundary cooperation of the Baltic region. We have other things as well, and we are planning to attract federal financing, like the Heartbeat Transport Conference, and there we've presented the results of our common project with the partners. They've heard us, and we hope that together, before the year 30, we'll be able to arrange a wonderful city where people shall be happy to live. We expect a flow of tourists coming from Moscow, St. Petersburg. Pandemic proved it's a lovely, cozy town with not too big population. It's a very green place. And unfortunately, in April, our partners couldn't visit us, though we really expected them to present our city. We hope and we plan to work in other projects of your program. And then, first of all, Lisa, we should plan together. Thank you very much, Christine, and you're an excellent marketologist, I should tell you. Now, let me ask Natalia Goleva, ask her to be brief. What was the meaning of that project for the Pskov region? Well, the Pskov region has already recommended itself. It's proved that we are a reasonable partner who is using skillfully all the tools of transboundary and international cooperation. This very project proved that, in general, both the programs and the projects have a human face, because the program of transboundary international cooperation are designed, first of all, for the benefit of the people. And Pskov, as a partner, worked with the population, with the organizations of municipal and regional level, with tourist companies, with educational establishments. All this proved what I mentioned. But in general, it was very comfortable for us to be involved in this program, and we had a very friendly cooperation with Secretariat. I'm very thankful to Madam Scherer, to Lena Kolosova, and to Leontiev Center. We really enjoyed working with you. This is the smallest program with Pskov Partnership. Altogether, we have 5 projects, and you were always easy to access. You visited us for the information seminars. You actively participated in our regional activities like the Hanseatic Forum, for example. Really, it was a pleasure working with you. Also, this project coincided, the Hanseatic cities participated in this project. That's how it worked. And of interest is the fact that we had not only the English-speaking, but also the German-speaking company. Christine speaks German very well, and I believe that was very convenient for the leading partner. So we were able to socialize nearly like relatives. Thank you. Thanks a lot to you, Natalia. It's a kind of a nostalgic ending of our session, and I still do hope that times will get better and we shall meet personally in St. Petersburg, Pskov or Rostock or somewhere else. We also have such plans. And it's pleasant to hear that you have ideas about future cooperation. So when we use them, when we talk about the program 21-27. Thanks a lot, Christine, Natalia, and Lisa, for telling us about the project Multi-Modal Cities. It's a great pleasure to see the results that are so practical and repeatable. They criticize, they say our projects are too soft, but all the 3 projects mentioned today prove that it's not true. We really do have very good results, not for the partnership only, but for the regions involved. Thanks a lot. Before the end of our session, talking to or about the projects, I'd like to ask our organizers to get back to our voting results and see what's important for us and what is the meaning for you of cooperation in the program like ours. You see the results on the screen. I'm not surprised, frankly speaking, and I'm very happy that we get a confirmation of what was mentioned in our greetings. Such cooperation programs are mainly about building trust, about assisting the sustainable development. So you see these 2 words, trust and sustainability. They're the basic ones, And other things are mentioned like friendship, innovations, prospects of cooperation. Yeah, we see partnership, cooperation, partnership. Well, it's all in line. It's very important who we cooperate with and the fact that we are creating prospects for the future. Thus, I'd like to finish our session of talking with the project. Let me remind that we have an interesting project library in our program. If you visit our site, interreg/baltic.eu, you may read not only about the project mentioned, but also about over 140 projects of the Interreg region program of the Baltic Sea in this financial period. That's the end of this block. Now let me give the floor back to the studio. We really had a very good conversation. Now back to the studio in St. Petersburg to our final block dedicated to the future program. Before we start talking about the program directly, let me announce the second voting. You've already learned how to do it. It's going to be easier. And that's why the question is more difficult. So the question is on, it's in the chat. There's a link in the chat to voting. What will be the direction of your ideas in cooperation projects? Several options are suggested. You have to choose two of the suggested. This voting shall be of interest. I'm sure you'll probably get involved, but don't forget to return back to us, to Zoom, because here we'll continue our work. Now I'm pleased to give the floor to Elena Kolosova. She will tell about the future program and about where we are now in this program. Thanks a lot, Irina. Yeah, we've just discussed the program, the year 14-20. Many projects are still going on. Only 35 or 36 projects are finished, and they'll keep being carried out till the middle of the year 22. However, of course, we started planning to the next period of the years 21-27. This work was started yet in the previous year, in autumn of the year 19. We were supported by the consulting company and analyzed some 50 different strategic documents of transnational, regional, and national level. Many of those documents were mentioned by Mr. Kapirin and Jonela in their greetings. So this work started over a year ago, and the preparation of the future program is based on strategic documents developed for our region, for the countries participating in the program. After the documents analysis, the program committee with 11 countries represented in it started to actively form the concept of the future program. And since May till June of the year 20, we actively prepared the future program priorities. Right now, we are working on the topics of the future program. And we were happy that such difficult times when we had to modify the meetings, the mode of conducting the meetings, the program committee has expressed its conceptual consent regarding the topics of the future program. This enabled us to start the public consultation yet in summertime and to ask for the opinion of all the stakeholders interested in transnational cooperation in the future 7 or 8 years. So we've asked their opinion on the topics approved by the program committee. We asked if something is missing and asked for the opinion on the basic parts of future cooperation. This work has already been done, and in the next slide, I'll explain what we are doing now and what we plan to do in the future. After the public consultation is over, we'll process the results this week. Thursday and Friday, we'll discuss these results and modifications of the topical concept with the program committee. After that, as Mr. Kapirin has already mentioned, we hope that at the official meeting of the program committee in the beginning of December, the program committee shall be able to approve the first draft of the program document. That will be a very important step for preparation of the next program. Thus, in spring, in March of the next year, we could start the internal national level approval of the program. Countries that participate. I'm talking about March, but not December or January, because many strategic documents at the level of EU aren't yet approved, including the budgets of our programs. Thus, we're expecting first the most important strategic decisions. After the programs and program documents get the national level approval, including Russia, we'll be able to submit the final option to be approved by the European Commission. Of course, it will take some time, but we hope that this will enable us to start the new program 21-27 in the end of the next year. That's only a preliminary date so far. That's the option we're using now. This will also enable to start the first round of submitting of the project applications in the end of the next year. And as I've mentioned in the beginning of this session, a very important stage for cooperation of Russian organizations shall be the preparation and signing of the financial agreement between the European Commission and the Russian Federation. That's the basic thing for participation of Russian organizations in our program. I've explained the process, but what are the topics we are now developing and are planning to suggest for cooperation in the period from the year 21 and 27. I mentioned on the next slide. These are the topics that you express your opinion about, and we've asked you to vote on that. Well, strategic direction is the development of the green and innovative region. So here are the 7 topics that were presented to the public consultation this summer. That's only the interim stage. It's not the final look of the program after it's approved by European Commission. However, it's pretty close to the future basis of our cooperation for the next 7 or 8 years. Some of the topics are a bit new. We saw several projects on these topics in the current program. However, the wording is new. The first is named more innovative and resilient economies and societies in conditions of crisis at pandemic. This is very important. It's important how can we prepare our economy, our society at transnational level so that they react well to unpredictable situations. Next is social services, how they may become more suitable for the citizens. Next topic is sustainable management of the water resources. That's the central part. It's not by chance we are called the region of the Baltic Sea. And in future, we hope to see new projects that will fortify the implementation of the new solutions or well-known solutions to make sure our water resources are clean and usable for the people living in the region. Next is blue economy, water resources, how the management should be modified due to the changing climate. The fourth topic, it's new for this program period, but it's not new for the period 21-27. That is the marine or blue economy. Here we see bigger business content, and we pay attention to the climate change and how the marine economy should get adjusted to the changing climate. Also, an important element of the future program is the view on climate change and mitigation of consequences of climate change. Hence, circular economy projects are possible.
On circular economy, low carbon, energy systems, as well as the theme green and smart transport and mobilities. And we can see that we have chosen these three themes that we're discussing today. Primarily, these are the themes, these are the projects, the outcomes of which we would like to share. And secondly, we can see that it is possible to carry on this theme based on the results obtained for the future program. So I once again ask you to look not only at what is being planned for the future program, but you can address our site and see at each stage is the project now. You can see what the projects have attained in these projects, and not to develop the projects for the future project, but to carry on the work on all these themes. Thank you. Thank you very much, Elena. That's wonderful how you could tell everything about the future program during that short time. I would like to draw your attention to voting. Once again, it was said that in one day there will be a session of the program committee, and representatives of the ministers, members of the program committee will participate in the work of the program committee, and they will be interested in the results of that voting and what the members of the Russian National Subcommittee would tell us. We'll start with the presentation of the co-chairman of the present Russian National Subcommittee, Elena Barovna Maximova from Kaliningrad region, deputy head of the Agency on International and Interregional Relations of Kaliningrad region. Please, Elena Barovna. Thank you very much, Irina Anatolievna. Thank you very much, Elena. I would like to welcome you from Kaliningrad. Good afternoon. Dear colleagues, dear participants of the roundtable, unfortunately, it happens so that the Russian part of the Russian National Subcommittee this year didn't meet face to face this year. At the beginning of the year, we had such an attempt to come together to discuss the prospects of the further program, future program, but unfortunately, restrictions were imposed during that period. But nevertheless, the work on the program is carried on, and it is quite good that traditionally the program of the Baltic Sea region is a leader on preparation, because other programs of border cooperation are just defining the priorities, and the Baltic Sea region is given a clear picture of how it will look in future. As you know, for Kaliningrad region, the program of the Baltic Sea region is standing apart. First, because this program makes it possible to cooperate, to establish partnership links, and to have projects with all states of the region. And secondly, it seems to me that this is an important feature. This program makes it possible to look into the future, to open and to discover the trends of development. And today, from Yelena's presentation, we have seen that really this is the case. And if we assess the priorities, it is rather difficult to choose among them because all the themes are necessary and we cannot reject any theme, not only by voting, but when we consider project ideas and our ideas for the future program, all these priorities are suitable for us. So we can conclude that the organizers of the program with great attention are listening to the trends and needs of the regions. I say that it is so important to take into account the future priorities. Retrospectively, in the early 2000s, Irina Anatolievna discussed our experience. Today, in the program of the Baltic Sea region, we got acquainted with the theme of energy management. And then during these years, I don't know what was the situation in other regions, but in Kaliningrad, not many people thought about energy efficiency, and not many people knew about energy management or energy saving. That was brand new then, and now practically we cannot do without it. We cannot do without these notions in our daily life. I'm sure that industrial symbiosis in several years will also become an organic part of our real life. Today, when we're speaking about the future of the program, I would like to reflect on what can be improved. Now, Elena briefly mentioned the theme. I would also like to focus on it. This is the academic nature of the program. Kaliningrad region now participates and has participated in 10 projects of the program, and the absolute leaders among the participants of the projects were our academic institutions, institute named after Shirshov Oceanology Institute, our research institutes, and of course, the research that is carried out by them in terms of future prospects are very interesting. But we, as regional managers, wanted to have more and more in our municipalities and authorities would participate in the work, probably not equally with research institutions, but would be close to them. And now, if we look at the list of participants, our municipalities are just somewhere on the approaches, but in fact, they are not among the active participants of the programs. Of course, it is interesting to observe how an assessment was gained, how our sub-sea archaeological reaches were mapped and assessed, but it is much more interesting to get the developed tourist routes so everyone would know how that archaeological heritage would be used to make the region more attractive in terms of tourism, what it will change in the structure of tourism in our region. But unfortunately, when this practical part of the project was formed, it was not approved in the program. That is not a reproach, but I would like to state the fact. It seems to us that we could improve the situation if we make the program not so academic, but our local participants would be more interesting in the program. I think that a mandatory condition would be the pilot character, the pilot nature, the pilot project that the partners would be implementing somewhere in the field, locally, in municipalities and regions. And then when you are asking us as to what was the outcome of that specific project to the region, we could say that in this municipality, as we have listened to SPOF, we are really joyful when we can see such results. So we can say that we have got this specific new instrument, certain specific new program, or some new technology that has been implemented. And the more such examples we collect at the municipal level, the more efficient it would be, the more efficient that the local implementation of the program would be. And the second aspect, probably the participants of the project will not agree with me, but as we see the number of the project participants and the tendency assumed by the program to increase the number of the partners, I think is not too optimal to attain the results of the project. We analyzed our Russian-Lithuanian program of cross-border cooperation, and we concluded that more than 6 partners in the project requires too much administrative expenses. And in this respect, the project would be more administrative, but not the project to be implemented. And we also would offer to work with that approach in the Baltic Sea region. Will you agree that not during the pandemic, but if we take common life, there will be a lot of expenses among 20 or 35 participants or 18 participants, or in Pskov there were 16 partners. There will be great expenses, traveling expenses. Probably some of the expenses that are saved could be used to implement the pilot projects in the region. The more so that now the projects are using computer technologies quite well, and their project results are uploaded into the internet, and they are available for other participants and their stakeholders. And it seems to me that it would not undermine the results of the project. We could probably slightly decrease the number of the partners up to 12 persons, so all the countries of the region will be able to participate, but at the same time will enhance that pilot component. Another issue which I would also like to present for your discussion, it is a debatable issue, of course, that is from the faraway past, the past of the program when it was financed by TASIS for the Russian participants. Then the Russian partners could participate with their foreign colleagues in the project on a bilateral basis. And this is a counterweight to the participation of many partners in the project. Why could it be interesting? Because we can agree that we have certain priorities and certain themes which might be most interesting, more interesting to the Russian partner than to other participants of the Baltic Sea region, and it could be realized in a bilateral format. It is much easier today because there is Russian co-financing. That might be probably a theme for discussion. We're also interested in the matters of social development, in gender issues. We're also interested in the questions concerning youth cooperation, and the recent Baltic conferences have already confirmed that our youth wants to actively engage in the project. And now we can see the field, the themes and the priorities proposed in the program. Not all of them 100% close cover what our partners from the low link would like to cover. And the last brief statement or request, probably. We have heard in other programs on cross-border cooperation that there is an idea of termination of that practice of advance payments for the partners of the project if all of a sudden that theme emerges during preparation of the program of the Baltic Sea region. The theme of what we would like to have that theme of advance payment not be reduced for the Russian participants, and it should account for 25-30% of the participant of the Russian partner. That is probably all. That was brief information that I wanted to give you. It's very pleasant that the program has advanced so significantly, and if everything goes according to the schedule proposed by Elena, that will be the first program for a new period that will be launched, and we're looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Elena Marovna. We were within the time schedule quite well now, and everyone has to take the floor, and I'll ask the speakers not to use more than 5 minutes when they are presenting their plans for the future program. And it is with pleasure that I give the floor to Andrei Letov, Deputy Chairman of the Foreign Relations Committee of St. Petersburg. Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, dear friends, on behalf of the authorities of St. Petersburg, I'm happy to welcome you at the forum this year. The Interreg program, as was noted at our meeting, will celebrate its 330 years anniversary. Our guests and partners could not come to St. Petersburg due to pandemic and celebrate that anniversary of cooperation together. I hope that in near future our life will come back to the normal situation and we start moving freely and meeting each other in person, so that life would be comfortable for us. We have to implement regional strategies. The main purpose is to increase the quality of life, the comfort of the residents, ensuring safe conditions of development of the society. I would like to note that St. Petersburg in 1997 developed the first strategic plan for the city development. So the work with the European neighbors for these 30 years in Interreg, while building compliance with the priorities of the city on strategic trends of its development. I would like to stress that the general purpose is to ensure stable improvement of the life quality of citizens due to sustainable economic growth. I am sure that all the presented thematic trends of 21 plus create a good platform for cooperation between St. Petersburg and European partners in the Baltic Sea region. And in the Baltic Sea region, we are faced with common challenges. The basis for formation of a comfortable environment, which would emphasize on the development of human capital that can be attained due to improving the quality and availability of education and development of innovations, forming the market and new professions and creating new jobs. Care of the environment and health will increase the life expectancy, development of the cities as transport logistic hubs, modernization of the checkpoints speeds up the movement of cargo and people, that increases the growth of well-being. And in this connection, the main task of cooperation in the region is to improve competitiveness based on adaptation of the best innovative practice of the city's leaders of sustainable economic growth in the Baltic Sea region, sustainable management of our Baltic Sea regional water resources, strengthening of partnership relations and platforms of cooperation to attain the common purposes of sustainable development, implementation and advanced technologies in offline spheres, support of new ideas and talent, support of our talented youth. Today, it has already been mentioned. Today, we have tried to present the most successful joint projects, Smart Accelerator, Industrial Symbiosis Platforms of Cooperation for St. Petersburg, the Russian and European cities and regions. In future, we are planning to follow the initiatives or organization to exchange the experience, demonstrate our practices and the search of best foreign practices in respect of circular economy, healthcare, protection of the environment, mobility and development of clean, intelligent transport, modernization of social spheres, and provision of addressed public services. However, I would like to mention the most important theme, health and well-being of our residents today. So far, we cannot see the clear trends of the program in that priority trend at the level of cooperation examples. We address the members of the Russian National Subcommittee of the program to more clearly outline that trend when developing the final list of priorities of the program. In the center of priorities of the strategy of St. Petersburg, health and well-being of St. Petersburg citizens. And of course, we wanted to see more projects of cooperation in that field. The more so that this team were presented by life to ourselves. Everything that has been happening during 2020 shows it. And the regions of the Baltic Sea, which have well-developed medical services sphere, well-developed pharmaceutical cluster, can exchange their results in that field and find some contact points. So we are neighbors, all of us, even from the viewpoint of epidemiological situation, that would be reasonable. To conclude, I would like to tell you that cities of the Baltic Sea region are brought together by friendship and partnership, which we developed despite the political epidemiological turbulence in our present world. In this difficult situation, we value the preservation of human contacts with our friends and partners. We understand their importance and value. Due to the epidemiological situation, many joint plans for the well-known reasons were postponed, but luckily they were not rejected. After lifting of the limitations, our cooperation will be renewed and it will be more intense. Our city is open for you and we can find the contact points in all spheres of life, and we're ready to realize new projects together to improve the quality of life for our citizens and countries on all proposed thematic trends of
topics
cooperation.
mentioned by Interreg, the regions of the Baltic Sea 2021 plus. All the best to the program participants. Stay healthy. Thank you very much. Let me express my hope that in April we'll be able to meet personally and continue the program discussion. Now let me give the floor to Mr. Andrei Mikheyev, Chair of the Government Committee of the Pskov region on Economic Development and Investment Policy. In the previous years, he was the co-chair of the subcommittee. The floor is yours. Thanks a lot. Once again, Irina, Yelena, dear colleagues, my greetings to the project participants. Pskov has a good experience of participating in projects. If we talk about the Interreg program, let me tell you it's very important to my mind. Well, it may be not the leader regarding the number of projects for our regions. It was told it was very scientific and perhaps the activities are pretty soft. However, the Interreg projects provide both methodology and tactical support to the possible projects, including other tools like the transboundary cooperation program and some other projects that our region is dealing with. Say the Baltic seafood that wasn't discussed today. However, its goal is to develop the cooperation of all the participants like this. Estonian program called Active Village. They've carried out a structural project which shall be part of that chain developed by us with the Baltic seafood partners. Some projects may be carried out independently, some may be within the national and regional programs. I'm talking about the Russian part. So definitely we do support the project continuation. We're ready and we are participating in the discussion of the possible directions of this program. I shall agree with Liana. Yeah, of course, there are some issues of administration of a big number of project participants. However, pandemic, I believe, proved that one can communicate very well without losing much of the quality of communication. So some projects may be conducted in online format. Of course, we're all missing live socializing, and I do hope that in spring the offline part of the strategy forum shall take place. So my best regards to Elena, and I wish this to take place. Now, regarding the priorities mentioned by Elena as well, many are topical and shall remain topical for the Pskov region. I believe environment, ecology. We are at the border and we have common interests of all the territories within the program. They're very similar. We still have the priority of transport development, I would say wider transboundary infrastructure. Pskov region has its own specific features and issues regarding the level of population of remote rural territories. So some practices, some solutions shall be topical for us. We definitely do support the priorities in the field of quality improvement and improvement of availability of different services for population. Again, half the population of the Pskov region living in the rural areas, and it's difficult to make all the services available for every citizen of the rural areas, and this impacts the life quality of the rural population. Besides, for us, another priority exists, that is the employees' cooperation in the field of education and continuation of the projects that are being carried out for quite a while, including the one for the leading educational establishment. Students' mobility, employees' mobility programs, labor, tourism, perhaps. So that's of important for us. That's important for us as well. Well, we have already had some preliminary discussions with municipalities and with the possible project participants, prospective ones. Yeah, and most of our long-term partners are willing to participate in the projects. So we are waiting for the final documents before we actively get involved in the project's preparation. That's it. I know I can't take any longer. Hope to meet with you and to continue working with you. Thank you very much. We have two more presentations since the Leningrad region is going to join as well. So I will ask Pavel Petrova, who shall speak instead of Olga Bakhmet, who is the chair of the Presidium of Scientific Center of Karelia. So let me ask him to be brief. If you have the presentation, we'll get it and later use it. Thank you very much, Irina. Dear colleagues, good afternoon. On behalf of the Karelian Scientific Center of the Academy of Sciences, I bring my greetings. Unfortunately, Olga, the chair, had to urgently go to the government meeting, so she asked me to make a presentation instead of her. First of all, let me tell you a bit about the projects that made us express the priorities of the new program period that we mentioned last year. Now it's updated. I'll now brief you on that in the end of my presentation. A couple of words about the projects carried out here in Karelia. We don't have that many projects in our republic, but 3 of them are here. First of all, it's BSUIN, the innovative network of underground labs. It was already presented. It's about to come to an end and provided very good results. We do good labs monitoring, and Ruskela Mountain Park is being developed. We've done a lot in this field. Unfortunately, Mr. Artemiev left us 2 weeks ago, but we'll continue the work next year. And we have already planned partnership networks that represents the whole Baltic region. We'll do the geo-environmental monitoring, and soon we'll open a big 300-meter long alley with Karelian birch trees in the park, and we'll have the EUL project, European Underground Labs. We were also offered to work in the new European Association of Underground Labs. It'll start since the beginning of the year 21. We'll participate. Of interest is the project, interesting social project that's aimed at activization of population, including vulnerable groups, into creation of common services. Social adaptation for social entrepreneurship, organization of certain new social services, startups, etc. An interesting trend. It may also be a priority for the next program period. WAMBAF toolbox. This is with the partners presented on this slide. That's to bring down the inflow of dangerous biogens into the shore regions of the Baltic Sea. It has to be supported, and will have interesting results by the end of the next year. That's when the program project is finished. Now, regarding the suggestions of our center on topic priorities of the future program, we've already partially presented them in the year 19. Now we've updated. So these are 3 most important directions. That's prospects for innovations, development of research and innovative infrastructure. I don't mean fundamental, but applied science, and involvement of business and social organizations and authorities of different levels. So we are ready for cooperation in this. Improving the transport technologies and knowledge and education distribution in the region. Continuous education, issues of social equality and integration, as well as social innovations and entrepreneurship. That's also very important for the next period. Effective natural resource management, development of shoreline areas, development of rural areas, water resource management in the Baltic Sea catchment and the basin, the development of nature protection activities, and improvement of social conditions, especially in rural zones. Next slide. I'll be brief, but it's very important. That's institutional potential for interregional cooperation of the Baltic region. That's the common development of opportunities, or the development of capacities of the government structures, and improvement of the role of youth organizations, and carrying out of big youth environmental and cultural activities. Thanks a lot for the attention. We're ready to continue cooperating. Thanks for inviting. Thank you. Now I invite Ekaterina Rudakova. She is the head of the department of the Committee on External Communications. As usual, the last speaker has the minimum of time, so be brief, please. Can you hear me? Good afternoon. Yes, but please a bit more loud. Be closer to the mic. I'd like to thank, first of all, the strategic forum that turned out to be a reliable site for our discussions, very important discussions about forming the new programs. In these 2 decades, we've had quite a lot of achievements. And looking into the future, I can tell that in the Leningrad area, the Leningrad region has a long shoreline of the Baltic Sea that is 330 kilometers. Common length is 500. So of greatest importance is environment protection, including waste treatment, including industrial waste, as Elena mentioned, very topical at present, when most of the countries in the world had the challenge of COVID. So of importance are the projects aimed at development of economy resistant to crisis. That includes SME support, innovative centers, creation new approaches to tourism, including environmental tourism. And it's important that this activity is focused at achievement of practical results that impact our citizens' life quality. Hence, I'd like to support the position of St. Petersburg that it's necessary to pay special attention to the protection of health and social life quality of our citizens. We expect our cooperation to become more efficient. I'm sure we'll be able to develop new tools that will be able to use in a new way in the new conditions. Thanks a lot. Now, let me give the floor to Elena Kolosova so that she can conclude. Thanks a lot, Irina. I believe that we should first of all check the results of voting. May we have it on the screen, please? Yeah. Very good results. We see that very many topics made our participants interested. Circular economy seems to be the leader, but it's a big topic. Water resources, they've been mentioned by the representatives of many Russian regions. That's also a priority among our participants. Transport development, energy development, innovative economy, and economies resistant to crisis. Blue economy was probably not that interesting for the participants, but there are prospects in that area as well. I'd like to thank all the representatives of the regions that were able to speak today, and I'd like to thank Liana for a very good introduction. Let me assure you that many topics you've mentioned, including pilots and small projects, they are being discussed in the program committee. So we do continue the work. Thanks a lot for sharing your opinions. I believe that they'll be considered at the nearest meeting of the monitoring committee and later throughout the work of the whole program. It was great to see you, at least virtually, It was great to see people from the Russian National Subcommittee. Oh, yes, we're running late. Some left, but only a couple of people. And thanks for staying with us till the end. Yeah, on my behalf, I'd like to express my gratitude and thanks a lot to the secretariat of the program and Elena Belova, who didn't speak today, but she was really a moving force. She got us united. Please, Elena, show yourself. That's her. That's awesome together. So we want to see everybody again in April.
Okay. Goodbye to all of you. Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you very much. We'll show the final video. We're leaving. Thank you. Goodbye, St. Petersburg.